Welcome to another retro unboxing with me, Merman, and as you can see we have another parcel from Bitmap Books. Sam Dyer does some amazing retro books, and this time he's working in conjunction with author Katala, best known for his work with Hardcore Gaming 101. So we'll start off with the amazing poster of the cover art. And this is for the Japanese role-playing game book. And I ordered the collector's edition 2000 being printed, never available again. So, as you can see, up to the usual standards of Bitmap Books packaging. Strip. And go inside, and there's some very special goodies inside here. Some feelies in classic Infocom style. So inside you can see we have the book corners to protect, jiffy bag with the feelies. So I'll put that to one side and open that in a moment. Move these over. So the Japanese role-playing game was heavily influenced by the original wave of Western role-playing games, the likes of Ultima and Wizardry, that then evolved into its own thing with an interest in characters and classes and storylines, and a postcard for the other books, including the computer role-playing game book, which I also have. And let's look into our collection of feelies. As I say, this is the collector's edition, won't be reprinted. We have a Save Your Progress bookmark. We have the postcards, I'm going to leave those sealed. And we have a special heart-shaped, pixel heart-shaped USB drive, 2 GB, containing demos of various certain new games that have been inspired by JRPGs. So, a guide to Japanese role-playing games. Welcome to the world of Japanese role-playing games. Video role-playing games adapted for computers from their pen and paper forebears have been around since the earliest days of digital gaming. Despite initial similarities to Western games, Japan's output began diverging in dramatic ways, inspired by its own culture and art, producing a style of game that's often wildly different from its Western counterpart. From Dragon Quest to Final Fantasy, from Megami Tensei to Pokemon, this tome explores the expansive history of Japanese role-playing games, beginning on 8-bit microcomputers and following them all the way up to the heavy hitters of the modern era. Included are reviews of over 600 games, covering a wide range of subgenres, including strategy RPGs like Fire Emblem, roguelikes such as Mystery Dungeon, and first-person dungeon crawlers like Etrian Odyssey, as well as articles on the genre, its music and art. Let the adventure commence. So we'll break into the cellophane. You can see it's a huge slipcase once again. And I'm just going to pause the video and jump cut to the book outside of the sleeve. Gorgeous red and gold embossed lettering, and the cover art by Stephanie Sabildo. Spine, and almost like a spine card, and the text on the back. So let's have a look inside. Table of contents, introduction, a long list of contributors. What is a JRPG? A history of RPGs, JRPGs in Japan, or RPGs in Japan. Looking at some other games that use role-playing game mechanics. Localization, taking a game and changing the language. Soundtracks. Anime. Attack and Dethrone God. Remakes. Taking an older game and remaking it for new hardware. Japanese PC RPGs. And so then we get into the reviews, looking at some series. The Black Onyx, a very important early game. Hydlide. Virtual Hydlide. already in just a few pages you can see a diversity of ideas and styles. Monogatari series, Arcus, SD Snatcher, Emerald Dragon, Dragon Princess. I'm just flicking through very quickly here, but it is beautifully put together, quite clear. Presentation, screenshots and cover art, piece about when it was released, and the platform it was released for. So we're carrying on through, and you see the various presentations, side on, Zelda 2 style, overhead, first person, depending on the game, samurai match. Falcom, one of the big names in the genre, it's Dragon Slayer and Xanadu. In Is, or IS, however you want to pronounce it. Very long running series that had several remakes. As you see, Dragon Slayer coming back again, Legend of Heroes. Now I personally have only played a few Japanese role-playing games, but the ones I have played I've enjoyed very much. Some more of the action RPGs rather than the strategy ones. Potful Mail, Dragon Quest, which of course was there before Final Fantasy and started many of the traditions, turn-based battles and Big Quest, the Quest Builder series starting, and Final Fantasy itself, of course named because it was going to be Square's last attempt at a big game for the NES and Famicom, and it became a huge franchise on its own. So as you can see, we're going forward through time here. Final Fantasy VII, which made the biggest impact in the West and got people interested. Final Fantasy X and X2, and I can imagine this section of the book is going to be quite long. As you can see, now we're going to spin-offs from Final Fantasy, Crisis Core, Type 0, Dimensions, Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, another important series. And you can see how that changes over time. Beautiful artwork in this book. Persona with its unusual summons. Last Bible series. Namco's Tales of series, so all interlinked in a similar style. I'm going to flick through a bit quicker now. And you see we go right from 8-bit days up to modern. Star Ocean franchise, one I've not played. Valkyrie Profile, Mediator Stories, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, which I know are very much loved by a lot of people. The Xeno games, Xenosaga, Xenoblade Chronicles, which was a hit on the Wii. Mother and Earthbound and Mother 3, which sound very quirky. Phantasy Star on Master System. I did an article for Retro Gamer on Tectoy from Brazil and how they localized that. It was very interesting to read. Phantasy Star, and of course Phantasy Star then had its own spin-off, the online game, or Max series, one I'm not familiar with. You can see I'm plunge in and try some of these games myself. Final Fantasy Legend, Romancing Saga, and Saga Frontier, Lufia, Luna, the Breath of Fire games. Now I did play Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. It is a really fun game combining Mario style attacks and RPG strategy. Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, beautiful presentation on those games. Played some of the Mario and Luigi series as well. The controlling two character mechanics are very clever in that. Grandia, And then Wild Arms. Didn't know there's so many Wild Arms games. Suikoden. Kodelka Shadow Hearts. It's absolutely lavish. Over 600 games, 370,000 words. Kaitos. .hack. Gambari Gorman Gaiden. Gaiden meaning side story or offshoot. Sweet Home, which of course famously inspired the Resident Evil games. Square's Tom Sawyer, based on the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Doraemon, the Monster Maker series. Live a Live. Paladin's Quest. I'm just overawed by how beautiful this book is. So many beautiful illustrations. Screenshots amazing. Dragon Ball Z, Super Saiyan Duzetsu, Shadowrun, Parasite Eve, Legend of Dragoon, Skies of Arcadia, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Twinbee RPG, sounds interesting. Lost Odyssey, Abuna, Lost Story, Tale Sonata. You know Kuni, I love the art style on those games. Golden Sun series, Bravely Default series, The World Ends With You, getting a new follow-up game. Kinko JRPGs, A Witch's Tale, Octopath Traveler, interesting recent game, came out on the Switch. And then on to action RPGs, and these are the games I have played more of. So played several of the Legend of Zelda games, obviously. Secret of Mana I really enjoyed. Again, there's multiple games in that series. Kingdom Hearts I've not played. Interesting crossover between Disney and Square. Soul Blaze, Illusion of Gaia. Terra Enigma I've played. Castlevania introduced RPG elements. Soulsborne series, Nier Automata, and you see we're still 100 pages to go. The Yakuza series, I want to get into that, try those. Galvelius I've played a bit of. Xanadu is another well respected one. Golden Axe Warrior, adding RPG to the battle game. The Willow. There's so many different, there's basically 3 different versions of Willow. There's the home computer version, the arcade game by Capcom, and the role-playing game. Noitopia series, Rentier #1. Landstalker, Alundra, I played a lot of Alundra on PlayStation, the original. And the Boktai series. Okami gets in there. 3D Dot Game Heroes, when the PS3 first came out, I really liked the look of that, but never got to play it. Pandora's Tower on the Wii, and then strategy RPGs, the Fire Emblem series obviously being one of the landmark titles, particularly with its permanent death mechanics. Shining Force and Shining. Super Robot Wars. Langrisser. Growlancer. Front Mission series. Some serious tactical play going on here. Tactics Ogre and Ogre Battle, another series I've not really got into. Final Fantasy Tactics, which are highly regarded. Ark the Lad, Sakura Wars, Disgaea, Valkyria Chronicles, Battle Lagoon, the Vandal Arts series, there's just so much text in this book. It's incredibly dense. More spin-offs and tactical RPGs here. Pokemon Quest. First-person dungeon crawlers. Obviously, we in the West had Dungeon Master and games like that. Eye of Beholder. This is the Wizardry series. Monogatari, Deep Dungeon, Shining in the Darkness, Shining Holy Ark, Etrian Odyssey, which sound interesting on the DS with the mapping features. And then the roguelike games. Obviously, Rogue, where you're trying to get into the dungeon and find the amulet. And the Procedure Generation Mystery Dungeon series. Quite a few games in that across many computers and consoles. And of course, there's even Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. As Your Dreams. Monster collecting RPGs, of course, we had to mention Pokemon, which is a role-playing game at heart. As your character, you're trying to improve, got to catch them all, and Digimon Story, Dragon Quest Monsters, Stone Kids, Devil Children, Monster Rancher, Robopon, Metabots, Jade Cocoon. I played Jade Cocoon briefly. Monster Hunter Stories. Okay, watch, and miscellaneous. So Phantasy Star Online. Fans have got that back online, so you can play the original Dreamcast. Final Fantasy 11, Dragon Quest 10, Final Fantasy 14, and interesting ones here. Karen Tsubasa in Azuma 11 sports role-playing games. You make decisions, choose tactically how you're going to go, and there's a long storyline. Obviously, it helps if you can translate the Japanese. Racing Lagoon. Ball Court Tennis, which is a tennis role-playing game. Secret of Evermore. Anachronox. Cosmic Star Heron. Pierre Sola and the Great Architects. Barclay Shop and Jam Gaiden. Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. I did play quite a bit of Sonic Chronicles, The Dark Brotherhood. Interesting attempt from BioWare to turn Sonic into an RPG, much as Square Enix had done with Mario. Undertale. I know my niece Emily was heavily into Undertale. It's a game I need to try. There's Moon Remix RPG Adventure, the recent re-release. And then the index, giving you some links to this various series. And that's it. So, this is an incredibly impressive book. Like I say, weighing it in over 600 pages. All the usual brilliant design and presentation from Bitmap Books. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video. Stay tuned to my channel for more unboxings and retro gameplay.